From stake to city, the story of East Liverpool and the point of beginning. In the autumn of 1785, a small group of men gathered along the Ohio River near what is now East Liverpool, Ohio. Their leader, Thomas Hutchins, the geographer of the United States, carried not weapons but tools, chains, compasses, and a wooden stake. With a heavy swing of his mallet, Hutchins drove that stake into the ground. It marked the point of beginning, the starting point for the first official survey of the Northwest Territory. Until then, land ownership west of the Appalachian Mountains was uncertain and chaotic. The Land Ordinance of 1785, passed under the Articles of Confederation, sought to fix that by creating an orderly grid system. From Hutchins' stake, survey lines spread westward like veins, carving the wilderness into 6-mile square townships, each divided into 36 sections of 640 acres. These were the 7 ranges, and they became the prototype for how nearly all of America's western lands would eventually be surveyed. Nearly 2 decades later, in 1803, another group passed along this same stretch of river, Captain Meriwether Lewis and his men. Their keelboat drifted past the newly organized lands as they journeyed westward to meet William Clark and begin the famed Corps of Discovery expedition. Lewis noted the clear, low waters of the Ohio and the abundant fish beneath them, sturgeon, bass, catfish, and pike, and described how even the surveyed boundary line, where timber had been cleared decades earlier, could still be seen cutting across the hillsides. This same riverbank witnessed both the birth of America's land survey system and the beginning of its greatest exploration. One effort carved the wilderness into plots ready for settlement, while the other pushed beyond the known world to map what lay farther west. Together, they represented America's early vision, order and opportunity paired with discovery and adventure. Early settlement. Promise of clear property boundaries drew settlers almost immediately. Some were farmers looking for fertile soil. Others were speculators, hoping to buy land cheap and sell it at a profit. Among these early settlements, East Liverpool rose to prominence, its position on the Ohio River making it a gateway to the new western lands. The river became a lifeline. Flatboats and later steamboats carried goods and people up and down the Ohio. With new farms and towns sprouting thanks to the survey system, commerce grew quickly. By the mid-1800s, East Liverpool was already shifting from a frontier town to an industrial one, fueled by its rich deposits of clay. The pottery capital of the world. By the late 19th century, East Liverpool had earned a new title, the pottery capital of the world. The very land Hutchins had helped define decades earlier now supported an industry known around the globe. Factories lined the river, churning out dishes and tiles shipped by rail and river alike. Families moved in, drawn by jobs and opportunity, and neighborhoods filled with workers' homes sprang up along streets laid out on the same grid system created by the 1785 Ordinance. 20th century growth and change. The city grew steadily into the 20th century, connected by highways, bridges, and railroads. The original surveyed grid made expansion easier, allowing for planned roads, utility lines, and neighborhoods. But as industries shifted and global competition increased, pottery manufacturing declined. East Liverpool, like many Rust Belt cities, faced economic challenges. Yet the city's location and history kept it relevant. Its connection to the Ohio River ensured ongoing transportation and trade, while its heritage became a point of pride. Museums celebrated the city's pottery legacy, and historical societies kept alive the memory of the point of beginning and what it represented for the nation. Modern East Liverpool and the legacy of 1785. Today, East Liverpool has evolved into a community that blends its industrial heritage with tourism and history. The point of beginning is commemorated by a historical monument near the Ohio-Pennsylvania border, marking where Hutchins' survey began. Though the original point now lies underwater due to modern river engineering, its significance is undiminished. It represents the moment America began measuring and selling its vast frontier systematically. The effects of that one wooden stake driven into the ground in 1785 are still visible today. Property lines that follow a precise grid, roads laid along surveyed sections, and a city that grew because settlers could confidently buy land and build lives. From a wilderness frontier to an industrial hub to a modern small city proud of its heritage, East Liverpool's story is inseparable from that single act that set in motion America's westward expansion. And so the story comes full circle. What began in 1785 with Thomas Hutchins driving a wooden stake into the ground, launching America's first organized land survey, returns to the very spot where it started. Today, just outside East Liverpool, Ohio, markers and monuments commemorate this point of beginning. The stone monuments, placed by the East Liverpool Historical Society and recognized as National Historic Landmarks, remind visitors of the moment when the wilderness first became mapped and measured, allowing for organized settlement and eventually the growth of towns, cities, and industries that shaped America. One marker notes how the original survey point now lies underwater, but 1,112 feet to the north, visitors can stand and imagine where Hutchins and his men began charting a new nation. Another plaque proudly declares the location as the initial point of beginning of the U.S. Public Land Survey System, the very system that shaped how most of the United States is divided and owned to this day. If you stand at these markers, you are standing at the foundation of American expansion. Few places can claim to be the literal starting point of a nation's growth, but this quiet site near East Liverpool can. Have you ever visited the point of beginning? Did you know this area played such a critical role in America's westward expansion? Places like this remind us that history isn't just in textbooks, it's beneath our feet. This area deserves to be remembered, visited, and preserved as a symbol of the vision, planning, and ambition that helped shape the United States.